the revenue sheet. Okay, let's break down the inputs that got you to the financial summary forecast. Let's begin with the revenue sheet. The first part of the revenue sheet is what I call revenue drivers, and this builds up to the actual revenue. On the row side, you have to build the customers signed up and the revenue they'll generate. Here you'll often see a combination of inputs results. The inputs are variables. For instance, you may think, I think I want to charge $5 a month for my core service per customer. Rather than develop a model that has $5 embedded in every line and every square, you put the amount as a variable in an input part of your table. Because everything is linked through formulas, now you can test and change the price and see how it ripples through your forecast. What if you found that when you added up all of your COGS, your costs of goods, and your costs, charging $5 just didn't get you to break even as you had projected? What happens if you charged $6 per month per user? What about $5.50? Or even $5.10? You can just change the price in that input box and see how it ripples throughout to your bottom line. It's often surprising how even a small change can make a huge difference. Let's start with the input of numbers of customers or users that you bring on every month. Let's look, for instance, at a B2C, business to consumer example. Let's say you have a company selling mobile phones. Let's say you project that you will put 1,000 new customers on per month. You can't just say, I'll get 1,000 customers to buy my new phones from me every month. You'll need to build up to the 1,000 buyers per month over some reasonable period through a reasonable process. Next, you outline how you get there. Are you selling primarily through online sales? If so, you'll typically start with how many visitors that come to your website. How many will come to the phone purchase page? How many will what we call click through? Then, how many will actually buy the phone, called the purchase rate or sell through? In many typical e-commerce sites, they get up to maybe 2% of their traffic to purchase the stuff they're selling. This varies very much from site to site and across different products and brands. Put in your reasonable conservative rate assumptions. This is one that you might put into an input table or variable, so you can change that percentage and see how it affects timing, sales costs, and bottom line. So let's start with 2% conversion rate. To get to 1,000 customers, you'd need to get 50,000 people to the site. Now you need to figure out how you're going to get the 50,000 people to the site and what it costs you. Let's assume it costs you 25 cents to get one person to the site. With all this information, the best way is to start with an iterative process to build that model. Row 1 is the desired number of potential customers who will visit your website. Row 2 is the percentage who will buy. 3 is the cost that you'll incur per visitor. Now you can calculate your total spend. This will come back in the cost sheet later, but it's easiest just to look now at the revenue here. In this case, I need to spend $2,500 to get 1,000 customers to buy my phones. In row 4, you add the price per phone, and row 5 is the total gross merchandising value, GMR. That's the revenue part of your B2C product. Now let's look at how this model can be built for, let's say, a B2B business to business company. In this case, the key cost of sales driver is typically a sales or business development resource. This, along with his or her productivity, this is how many sales he or she can do in a month, becomes the revenue driver. Below that, you can then add the revenue per B2B customer, and that will bring you to the next area, net revenue. Once you do this exercise and extrapolate it over 36 months with the growth that you want to assume, growth could be a month-by-month growth, better productivity, or whatever assumptions you have. Look at the annual revenues. Do they make sense with your aspirations, with the market size and competition? If not, then iterate till you get the revenue numbers you feel are really realistic, conservative, and are a good first version of your forecast.